everybody. I hope you're having fun at AutoCon. First of all, a quick apology to Scott. I delivered these slides 46 minutes ago, so thank you. Thank you for accommodating me. Second thing, Steinsy has a lot of energy. I'm going to try and match that, but you know, he's a little, he's really got that going on, so I'll see what I can do. So today we're going to talk about how the future of network automation is open and composable. Network automation can seem very daunting. Steinsy pointed it out in his talk just now. You know, apparently Ansible isn't cool anymore. Who knew that, right? As we move through these changes in industries, what we find out is that we're sort of overwhelmed with decisions. But it's not just in networking, right? It's happened before. I've experienced this as a software engineer earlier in my career. So I'm going to take you through a little story of how that happened. We're going to go all the way back to 1999. Total Control Games magazine, the best games of the millennium revealed. And if you go to page 60, who's that dork, top right? That's baby me. And baby me loved computer games, and more so making computer games. I used to spend a whole bunch of time making modifications for Half-Life, and I would sit there for hours on end in a state of basically bliss. But there was something that I liked even more than that. Who knows who this guy is? It is John Carmack, the lead programmer at id Software. They made Doom, they made Quake, and this guy was my absolute hero. So much so that when I was asked in that magazine interview what my favorite role would be in the future, I said my favorite role would be to be him. So what is it that I liked about John Carmack so much? Well, it wasn't just that he was a programmer, it's the way that he did it. To me, John Carmack was this sort of mythical figure, right? He did everything on his own. Very few people around him changed the computer game industry, just him and his computer. He was a cowboy with a BFG 9000, with a Doom t-shirt, and I wanted to be him. And you know, for a while, that's actually how my life went. I was making modifications for these games on my PC. Then I went to university. I was working on my own a lot there. Then I got into computer games as a job, and a lot of it was small team stuff, and I was very happy. But then, in 2006, I moved to Amsterdam. I got a new job, and I came here to work for TomTom. And TomTom was a very different kettle of fish. It wasn't just me on my PC. Like, literally the way I used to develop and deliver software was I would compile it on my PC, I would test it by playing the game myself, and then I would ship it to someone else who also had a PC that wasn't dissimilar to mine. Now I was working with thousands of developers, shipping software all over the world to people in different languages, different operating systems, some of it online, some of it in little boxes stuck inside your car. We all had to collaborate. We all had to have testing. Testing did not exist in my life before this. We had to have version control. We had to have change control boards. We had to have all sorts of other things, right? And the reason why is because different challenges need different approaches, right? And I think this is kind of what a lot of us are feeling in the network automation community at the moment, right? We were very happy doing show commands, and now suddenly our networks are growing, we've got to have less outages, and we're being asked to change. We see this in all the acronyms that are popping up, right? So the one that I was forced to live through, but now actually love, is DevOps. But we also have NetOps, NetSecOps, NetDevOps, DevNetOps, all of these things, right? They're just like, it would be better if all these people work together better, right? That's the whole point of all of these things, because at scale, we need all of these functions to work together neatly. So it's all about collaboration. At NetBox Labs, it's our mission to make it easier to build and manage complex networks. And what that means is that we spend a lot of time looking at how we can make collaboration easier. How do we help people to scale their systems by building open and composable systems where they can collaborate with their partners? And we're going to look at how we try to do this and where we see this happening across a few different layers. The first is collaboration with our huge community. Put your hands up if you're a NetBox user. There we go. Big community. So One of our core values is community first. What that really means is when we're making decisions inside the company, we're thinking, how does this impact the community? How does this help the community? Second is what we call the virtuous circle. We're a commercial business, right? We're in the business of making money, but the reason why we're here is because of all the work that came before us with Jeremy and all of you users in the open source community. As we start to sell products like NetBox Cloud, we generate revenue and we reinvest that revenue into the open source community so that the whole thing can grow virtuously. And we'll see a couple of examples of that in a minute. And then the big tent philosophy is core to a lot of the things that we'll do. And you'll see some specific examples of this in a moment, but we really seek to play nice with everybody else in the industry. And the reason why is because we think everybody needs open and composable systems, right? So we try to make the tent bigger, to make sure that we're easy to integrate with, to have lots of partners in lots of areas, so that we can give operators like you more choices about the tools that you include in your open and composable systems. Another example of collaborating with the community started at the beginning of 2023. So at the beginning of 2023, we were like, why isn't there a network automation conference? So we created one. We made NetDevOps Days. And in May or June of last year, NetDevOps Days London happened, and it was a great success, and Steinsy presented with the usual energy. There he is. And then we did another one in New York, and then AutoCon popped up. And it was never our intention to run a conference. We just wanted there to be one. So the first thing we did is we called Scott and Chris, and we said, could we join forces? And that's what we did. Yeah. Okay, continuing with collaborating, these are really helpful, by the way. Continuing on the collaboration with the community theme, yesterday you might have seen that we released a free tier, right? Like, as people are getting into network automation and trying to figure out how all this fits together, there's nothing worse than it being difficult to even try the thing in the first place. So we're lowering the barrier to getting started with NetBox by giving a free tier, free in perpetuity if you give us a credit card, and you can go and use that. It's production ready. You can scale up, you can get started, and then you can grow from there. We also seek to be very collaborative with our users, right? We have a huge open source customer base, user base. We also have a bunch of customers. Some of them were previously open source users. Some of them are brand new to NetBox Cloud. And this is kind of a brief overview of our product and feature lifecycle, but basically what it shows is that from the very beginning, even when things are internal, we call this experimental, we're sharing with the community, right? And I'll give you a good example of this. A few months ago, people started talking about version control in the NetDev Slack, and this got into a public, you can go and see it. This is how a lot of our product decisions begin. We're talking in the open, we're figuring out with the community what we want, and this process has now led to some great news, which is that in NetBox 4.1, in August of this year, we're introducing stage changes, which gives you version control, branching, merging, diffing, and everything else that you would need to be able to collaborate with your colleagues. Has anyone got any water? I'm sorry, I've got a dry mouth. One moment. Thank you. All right, that's better. I don't have any germs. Okay, collaboration with our users. So, plugin bounty program. There's a huge number of people in the community who want additions to NetBox. We've created a plugin leaderboard. People can put their ideas there, and then they can go and vote for them. We discuss these in the usual process that we would for any other feature with the community. And then once we've figured out, okay, we understand what this plugin is supposed to be for, or this extension, we then put a bounty out on it. And I don't know if we've got Alex Gittins here. There you are. Big round of applause for Alex Gittins, please. He's not sure what I'm going to say next yet. It's a big round of applause for being the most recent recipient of our plugin bounty. So thank you for that. And this is just another way that we're working with the community to make sure that we're constantly building integrations into NetBox ecosystem. People who build plugins for the ecosystem basically face two challenges. One, they've got, well, I guess three. They've got to maintain them, but after that, they've got to make sure that people can find them. One of the things about having such a huge and open community is that there's a lot of stuff going on. So we introduced the NetBox certification program, which means that we work with plugin developers to make sure that not only are their plugins discoverable and people can understand what they do, but also we stand behind them so that they're supported, which means that they're not then having to maintain that plugin on their own for the whole community. It means that the rest of the community gets better assurances around quality, and the plugin maintainers themselves get a helping hand from us. We have a huge focus on partner collaboration. I'll come to a slide in a minute because I think most of them are actually here. This is just a little excerpt from a recent survey from Enterprise Management Associates. Some of you will be familiar with Seamus McGillicuddy there, who does a lot of good work. And basically what he saw in the survey is that most companies who are successful with network automation have multiple network automation tools in their stack, right? Like being open and composable is built in to success in network automation. And this is what we're enabling through our open and composable ecosystem. So just, I've seen Slurpit, I've seen SUSE-Q, I've seen IP Fabric, I'm going to say that probably everyone on this chart is here today, and we're constantly expanding this. If you're on our newsletter, you'll have noticed that our newsletters are getting longer and longer every month as we add more and more and more partners to plugins and integrations so that when you use NetBox or any of these other tools, you can easily advance your network automation initiatives by integrating with these other tools and not having to do the work yourself. So we're almost at the end. If you are coming into network automation and you're feeling a little bit like 24-year-old me, like I just wish we could go back to how it used to be, there's a lot of new challenges, there's a lot of things you've got to learn. Don't worry. The future of network automation is open and composable. And it's happening right now, right? It's happening in this room. We're trying to enable it as much as we can. But when I see all of our partners in the room, when I see all of the great conversations that are happening here, I think this is the right time for everyone to be sharing their ideas and helping each other to succeed with network automation. And Dali did me a favor with this one. Big tent. We're no longer alone, and we're all going to AutoCon. So thank you very much.